Hi, guys. Thank you for joining us on another episode of Trading Tales podcast here at Nordic Funder. We are now here today with Joe, who owns an investment firm called Stratus Capital. He is from the UK, based around London. Joe is a full-time investor and he employs professional traders and looks around the market for coders and expert advisors, algorithms to manage these large portfolios. So, Joe, how are you and how have you been?
I'm very good. Thanks for asking, mate. How's things? Are you all right?
Yeah, good. Yeah, not too bad. Not too bad. Do you want to get started on how you got into this industry, like the world of trading, and kind of what inspired you to get into it in the first place?
Absolutely, mate. So yeah, plain and simple. There was always, as a kid growing up, the two things. It was either the dream is either professional footballer or stockbroker. You know, when you grow up, you
Yeah.
just always wanted to do. Didn't even know what it was really. It was a stockbroker. I know obviously forex trading's a lot different, but to the average person that doesn't understand the world of investing, forex and stocks are the same thing, pretty much to them, aren't they? So I always wanted to get into that. I did land a couple of jobs when I was like 18. I got into like junior broker roles, but the sad thing about that is it was a heavily unregulated market, and they unfortunately generally prey upon young hungry lads and their dreams. So they weren't really real firms. They were really bad firms, up to bad things more than anything. So it didn't deter me though. Obviously, I still had the dream to go after it, and then stumbled across forex trading. And yeah, the rest is history, really. You see everyone on it. I saw the stuff on Instagram, pursued it myself, lost thousands of pounds
Yeah.
learning how to trade.
Standard.
And that was the biggest lesson for me more than anything. And obviously we'll go into it a bit more, but I never did become a profitable trader, and I don't think I ever will. Like I there's a lot of reasons why, but there's certain characteristics, people that meet the criteria and people that don't. But what I did is found a way for myself and for other people to be able to make money from the markets without having to dedicate yourself to it, make all the sacrifices, and become a profitable trader yourself.
Right. Yeah. So this is different because usually what I have on the show is I'll have like traders that are either profitable and professional, or they'll be like almost just at that moment of changing over to be that kind of trader. So I thought, like I said, when I was looking for people to come on, I thought it'd be interesting to get your point of view on it because you're a little bit different to what I usually have on the show. Can you talk to us a little bit about Stratus Capital? Like, I've heard obviously very good things. Could you elaborate a little more about the details and what you actually do as a firm?
Yeah. So the long and short of it, if we just go to infrastructure, is essentially it's investment fund, and we're a retail sector investment fund, and the infrastructure that we have is utilizing, say, a broker and copy trader software. So we have our master account here, essentially that's our Stratus Capital, and then we have all of our clients in a line there, and then they're connected to us. Any trade that we place then goes onto their account, up or down, like scale wise, whether they've got a larger account or a smaller account. Everything's done in milliseconds, really. So it's a little bit more of a obscure structure to the norm with the big boys in the industry, but it's very popular, easier to bring people on in the retail sector, and yeah, it doesn't really have any problems.
Okay, well, are you guys focused on more like stocks and long term, like crypto metals, or was it just like foreign exchange?
Purely forex.
Is there any particular pair that was there that you guys trade, or your traders trade? Like, was always there like indices involved as well, or just
It's
foreign exchange?
literally, it's the main. Obviously we've got like cable, euro, USD, US dollar, CAD. It's almost like with my trader that I work with as well, he can go through phases. Because a lot of the time you'll see people just stick to one pair and you'll be fine. The strategy, I'll go into the strategies in a bit more detail, but with a strategy that we use, it can be applied to anything. Not anything as in there's certain things that it doesn't work on, but generally speaking, the main 12 forex pairs, it applies to all of those. So it's kind of, if
Nice.
structure meets the needs and requirements, then we can execute. But generally speaking, for me, and I don't know about yourself, I love gold, just because obviously it's got that volatility there and it excites
Hey,
you. But
I hate gold. It's my least favorite and I literally despise it.
I love and hate
A
it,
few of my
love and hate,
friends
but
are like, yeah, a few of my friends are well into gold, and they keep trying to like keep trying to push it on me, and I'm like, please just get away. I hate it. So, what do you
I got
find most exciting about trading like forex compared to like traditional stocks?
the liquidity more than anything. Whilst I'm huge, obviously we've got each other on social media, so you see I'm always talking about the long term, which does help as well when you're onboarding clients, because obviously you want people to be long term. But the potential that the forex market has, one, for your liquidity to get your funds whenever you want them, your access, but two, the profits that you can generate in a short space of time. But it's using those two fundamentals and implementing the thought process that you should have to stocks and long-term investing. So you've got the faster, superior gains, you've got the instant access and liquidity. But if you put that on a longer time scale, obviously you're onto a real winner there.
Oh yeah, nice, interesting. Like, would you say that you're amongst your investors, right? So, would you say that it's mainly male dominated,
It's a
or
really good question, and it's not one that gets spoke about enough. And it annoys me because it's 99% of my clients are male, and
mad, isn't it?
it just means there's 3 or 4 billion people in an untapped market out there. And for some reason, I don't know what it is. Obviously, I use social media, I use referrals. I don't know what I'm doing wrong in the marketing game, but it's heavily male based, and there's no reason for that. Like I'd love to have more women on board, but it is male
Yeah.
dominated, and it always has
So
been.
I've had basically like I've had one girl trader that I've interviewed on here before, but I found it particularly tough locating female traders that are like serious. I'm trying to get to the bottom of it. I don't know why. Maybe it's because it's maybe it's got this bad reputation as gambling.
Mm.
Maybe. However, I do
Well, it's
know some American girls that love gambling. So when I was
exactly, but
living in the
that's a
States,
similar
so,
point.
so
That's
I
a
don't
similar
know.
point you've made as well. Is in the gambling industry, that's heavily male dominated as well, isn't it? So
Yeah. Okay.
it's
Yeah.
but I would generally speaking as well, I would love to be in contact with female traders, as it's actually statistically proven they're better at trading than men are. There's just fewer of them, just because of their
Yeah.
emotions and their general lifestyle. That enables them to be a better trader on paper.
I've heard that a lot. It's
I
interesting.
just haven't seen it though. That's all. I haven't seen it.
Yeah, exactly. I've got to see it first. Could you talk about your current like traders style in terms of like risk management? What is your traders approach?
Yeah, sure. So with us, that's a good point as well, because it's something I see a lot, is these 90% win rates that are always advertised. And it's you don't need them. You don't need them at all. We could maintain a 90% win rate by winning £10, 9 out of 10 goes, but then we lose £100 on the 10th go, and we're losing £10 every 10 trades. So
Yeah, I know.
the win rate does not matter. Our win rate, I think, has been as low as like 50%, but we're still able to be profitable at 50% because we're using the main fundamental that we look for in the market is liquidity. And obviously you've got exponential gains there when you're looking for spots of liquidity. We're able to get those. A massive mistake and a big weakness in the industry is risk management. But our two core values that we've got implemented, and we make sure that we try and adhere to these, are security and growth. Obviously, the growth is there. Everyone wants to see growth, but security is massive. So it's we only ever try to have a maximum of 1% open per trade. That doesn't mean, obviously, we can go not in depth martingale when we're looking at it. But if we get in a good point on a position, if that retracts, then we can go another 1%. If it retracts a bit more, we'll do another 1%. We're not a
Yeah,
traditional martingale strategy, but if we get
no,
into that position and it goes to TP, cool, we've made 0.5 or 1%. But if we get a nice bit of a pullback, which generally speaking, my trader does, it can be a frustrating trading style for me, because I'd just much rather get in, get out. But he'll
yeah,
almost hope that it does have a bit of a pullback.
right. Okay, so make
Um,
more then. Yeah,
Exactly, but on the flip side, you can lose more as well. So it's something that's always being looked at, is the entry points. Obviously, if we have a nice pullback, great, but you don't want it to. You've got to know when to cut your losses as well.
right.
So the risk management is massive for me. I'm a huge advocate with the risk management.
Fair enough. Fair enough. That sounds great. So what sort of traders do you look for? Like traditionally, do they have to like pass an assessment? What do they need to provide you with in
Track
order to
record.
track?
It's always for me. I couldn't be more sound like Joe Public or Joe Blogs when it comes to what I'm looking for. High returns, low drawdown.
Yeah.
That's literally it. You want to see a chart that literally is just going like starts here and just literally just works its way up slowly like that. And trouble is they're few and far between, or if they are,
Yeah.
they have a shelf life. So it's the biggest problem I found with that is it's anyone that invests in me, they're generally buying into me more than anything, and they're trusting me. And that's what I have to take that risk with traders sometimes, because if I get into someone's chart when it's up here, the likelihood is we're going to see a correction or a pullback, because things can't go on like that forever. Otherwise, that would have essentially cured world poverty if you've created something like that.
Yeah.
So it's getting in with someone that's down there, and you go, do you know what? I can see the potential of this. So generally speaking, it's track records and just trying to see through the bullshit more than anything, mate. I've got something that is. I'll go into a bit more detail on this. Something that's massive is if I am ever talking to someone and I've got the opportunity there for them, you know, if I'm looking and saying, right, okay, I could do with a trader. As soon as someone wants to bite my hand off, I've learnt that's the biggest red flag in the world. If
Mm.
someone wants to bite my hand off, then back in the day, like years ago, and I've made the mistakes on the way, I was like, oh, great, yeah, this is going to be brilliant. It's never worked out.
No.
The trader that I've got the best relationship with, that I've had the best results out of, I mean, we've had like 327% before in 10 months, which isn't sustainable, but we've achieved
Crazy.
it.
That's crazy.
Um, it took me so long knocking and knocking and knocking at the door to basically get him in eventually. I think I sent him a voice note actually, and it was, I've got a ticket to Willy Wonka's chocolate factory. I've got the golden ticket. Do you want to come with me? And it took a lot of pitching and a lot of I was basically trying to get him, which is how it should be. I think I should be the
Yeah.
one trying to convince the traders
No, of
rather than
course.
the traders trying to convince me, because any trader that is profitable, they're self-sufficient. They don't need the capital. So
No.
it's a case of me convincing them to buy into my dream and my vision for me and
Yeah.
my clients, for them to say, do you know what, I share this vision, rather than give me the money, I'll trade it, and then 9 times out of 10 they're going to end up losing it.
100%. Really interesting, that is.
Mm.
But like essentially what you are looking for, you need to see a track record, and you need to see a model that you can see from your experience is sustainable. And these people that are like, can I do it? Can I do it? They need the money.
Yeah.
The traders that don't want to do it don't need it.
No,
So
exactly.
it is what it is. I hear a lot of people, bad mouthing the forex industry like all the time. Do you have any thoughts on this?
Do you know what? Without the bad guys and the scammers, I wouldn't have half the clients that I have, because you've probably seen my marketing material and the stuff that I do. Like the one that blew up and went viral before was I've got like a client and a good friend of mine. He's like retired early age, like 45 retired. So I came to him and just said, is there a chance I could borrow your Ferrari and do, so you've seen the videos, I'm sure a lot of people
Yeah,
watching
I've
this have
seen that
seen.
video. It's really good.
They turn up with a Rolex, this and that. So I just thought, right, this is what I'm going to do. I pull in the Ferrari, get out, flashing all these watches. But what is the actual reason that you want to invest? Like, what is the reason? If it's because of the cars you're seeing these people in, the watches, it's pointless. And that's going on to your question. That's the real problem in the industry, is nobody wants to join this industry because of the fundamentals and potential. It's because of the bullshit that comes with it, and the Rolexes, the rented cars, and these
Yeah,
fake lifestyles. I mean, your journey, my journey in this, even my journey isn't portrayed 100% accurately on Instagram, because it would just, I'd get no interaction, because it would be boring. There'd be too much stuff on there. You can only show people so much of your life, but these guys that are out there just showing you the
everything.
wins. I mean, look, for example, you could run two trading groups. You could run, and I don't want anyone taking inspiration from this, but you could run two trading groups, and you could just put two signals out that are opposite to them. 50% of the time, they're both going to be right, just the same as you get the guys that do that with backing horses. It's an industry that has a lot of potential for cowboys, freeloaders, and people that don't want to put the work in.
It's a minefield at the end of the day, and you just got to navigate your way through it. I feel like I'm pretty good at sort of saying, right, that's real, that's not now.
Mm,
It did take me a good year of going around in circles, but
yeah.
It is what it is.
Sorry, mate, just to continue on that, I was gonna say, I don't think there's anyone out there. There will be someone out there, but there's nobody out there I found in my exact situation. So there's traders out there, there's other people. There's guys out there that pretend they can trade. There's guys out there that can trade, but they don't show the right results. There's no one out there that is an extrovert like myself, obviously a very chatty sort of guy. I'm not that analytical with numbers and that, but I'm actively preaching that I'm not a profitable trader.
Mm.
There's no one out there that's seeking investment from people and
No.
doing that, which is what I think works well for me, because I will never pretend that I am the profitable trader. I will source the talent and then we will put that to work on our capital. So that's
Yeah.
something that bodes well for me in and amongst all of the turbulence that you've
Yeah,
got.
that's interesting. That's one of the reasons why I thought I'd bring you on, because you were doing
Mm,
something completely different, traditionally what I have on the show.
yeah.
What do you think some common misconceptions people have about trading forex, and how would you kind of debunk those rumors?
Do you know what the best one is? As soon as you're a profitable trader, you can just tell where the market's going 24/7, or you can pull money out. And I was one of those, and I think a lot of people are. And so you're a profitable trader yourself, Alex, as well. So I'm sure I don't know if you speak to a lot of people that aren't profitable, but they will literally just they think you have this crystal ball and you can sit down and just they'll go, what? Because this is what I always wanted to know before. Obviously, I'm not profitable now, but I've got my knowledge is through the roof of the industry. I understand everything about it. You basically want to sit down at a chart with a profitable trader and go, tell me what way is this going to go? Tell me what way is that going to go? And
Very
it's
much
just not how
impossible.
the huge misconception is, and I know there'll be traders watching this going, that's obvious, but it's not. It's for the guys that sat at home that aren't profitable or are looking to get into the industry. Nobody can tell which way it's going to go. There's an indication from past data or price action, and you can make you can obviously tick all of your boxes for you to then make your execution, but there's no way of actually knowing and just being able to pull money out of the market easily. And I think
No.
that's what people more often than not think, this guy's profitable, I'm going to put all my money into him. Mate, a profitable trader can literally have a losing day, a losing week, a losing month, a losing year.
Yeah.
Like I know traders that I've had a losing year before. Like
Yeah.
it's nothing to do with that at all. That's just the way it goes. The misconception is it's just easy money, and it's not.
I found that with when I first started, I got to like 4 months profitable, and I was like, all right, bang, here we
Yeah,
go. I sort of like making between 3 and like 12, 13% a month. And I was like, I
yeah,
got this. I got this. And then I did like another 2 months where I made like a little bit, not too much. And then I had like 2 months where I lost every single trade. And then I was like, this was like about 2 years ago. And I was like, wow,
yeah,
I really haven't got this at all.
yeah,
So, but then I didn't realize, I thought like I needed to start again. But really, if I'd added up the numbers, I was still quite consistent and quite profitable. I just made a few little mistakes, and then I got in my head, and I was making. I went on to the tilt, whatever they call it, right? So
mm,
I was always like, nah, I won't tilt. But I think that after losing 5 in a row, when I literally was winning probably 75% of my trades after losing 5 in a row, I was like, well, if this one doesn't win, then I'm like, it's impossible. It's not possible. So I was like
yeah,
playing the odds game then in my head. So I was
yeah,
like, this one's got to win because I've lost 5 in a row, and I wasn't even really looking at like I wasn't even in check with my emotions at the time. I was just like, this one's 100% got to win, and then it would lose, and I'm like, wow. But really, I've been looking at the setup. The setup's not right.
yeah.
I took a little break for about 6 weeks then, and I was like, and then I just went, right, okay, cool. I just back tested, same results, was getting like great results, and then I was like, right, okay, let's just calm down a little bit now. It doesn't matter if you have a negative month, even if it's like minus 3-4%. It doesn't matter as long as most of the months you're profitable. Okay, and like the numbers are in your favor. So the forex and index market, we all know, is constantly evolving, right? So this is another thing that I was doing. I always thought that the markets when I first started was going to be the same. So like, how do you adapt to the constant like evolving situations? And like, when a long streak of profitability, like you said you had at your first company, was it, with the 375% in 8 months, and
Yeah.
then it just fizzled out, not like majorly, but you pulled the plug before it, you lost a bit of that.
Yeah,
uh,
yeah. So the best way for that, first of all, is having the right clients for me, because if you've got people that are going to run in the first sight of danger, I don't have a business anymore. Like, so I need to make sure I've got the right clientele, which I do. They're great, they're brilliant. Yeah, that they sit tight and they trust the process. They share my vision, which is the most important thing.
Yeah.
When it comes to the evolving markets, obviously it's really down to, like you say, risk management. Because essentially, you're risking 1% on a trade, you've effectively got 99 times to be wrong. You don't want to be, because then you've only got 1% to play with. But
Oh, yeah.
it's the risk management. But I've learned not to make rash decisions. I'm not trading myself, but obviously I'm the one steering the ship. And the
Yeah.
biggest challenge that I face is I'm my biggest nightmare of a client. I'm glad that I don't have me as a client and I just have to deal with me internally, because I couldn't deal with that guy, because obviously I'm watching it every day, and I care more about that pot of money that isn't even mine. It's other people's money. I care more about that than anyone else does. More because it's my credibility on the line. The money's secondary. Like the money, obviously, it's a really lucrative industry, which is brilliant, but my credibility is more important than anything.
Of course. Yeah. You
So
don't want to get me getting like bad reputations. Just
ex-
not.
exactly that. So it's not making rash decisions. So if, for example, we have a losing month, 2 or 3, then it's going back to the drawing board and just really reassessing what's gone wrong, rather than just jumping ship straight
Right.
away. Whereas that's what I've done in the past previously. We've run in the first sight of danger, and then all of a sudden no one wants to come in and trade murky waters. Like,
No.
like how appealing is that? You go, do you know what? Actually, I've got a fund up to we're up 300%. We've dropped down 30%. Do you want to come in and try and save the day? That's not appealing to anyone, because one, the high watermark's far out, so they're not going to earn any money till they've made their. And even when you're 30% down, you've then got to make 42.5% to get that back. So they haven't even got to make 30%. So
Yes.
it's just about, more than anything, stick to the plan.
Yeah.
The markets are always going to evolve, but if you've got a real edge on the market, stick to the plan and have faith in yourself. So I know what we're doing works. Even if we go on X, Y, and Z amount of months of losing streaks, I know what we do works, so that's fine. You've
Okay.
just got to stick to the plan. You've got to understand how the losses can go. But if the losses aren't going, if they're going way worse than you think, then you think, okay, now we've got to change something. But
Right.
just like the wins as well, if you know how you say the markets are evolving,
Yeah.
and they could go badly. It's the same. It could go the opposite way, and you could
Yeah.
win way too much. All of a sudden, if you're up 500% a year,
That's
if
dangerous
you
though.
exactly, you can't be celebrating. You've got to go, right, this is going to come to an end at some
Yeah.
point.
I
And
think
but
in last June to like July, I won 17 trades in a row,
yeah,
and God knows how much money I made. Like it
you're almost hoping for a loss by the end of it, just so you can get the loss out the way or
But
something. Like,
that didn't sit well with me though in September, because I went into drawdown. I was like, something's not right here. Like
yeah,
I'm literally invincible right now.
yeah,
So everything I touched, it was just hitting. I was just like, this has got to end somewhere. This is just
yeah,
a joke. But it
yeah,
didn't. It just kept going. I was like, all right, okay, so whatever. So I managed to make a good few grand out of the prop firms I was with then.
yeah.
So that was good. So do you have any specific like indicators or like expert advisors you're using at the moment? Do they use indicators, or is it just like more of a technical
So
analysis?
that
Like
obviously I'd never give away the secret
the
recipe, and he's
secret
never given me
sauce.
obviously he's never given me the ins and outs of it. I understand it on a in layman's terms. So essentially what we're doing, so like the ADR, we use the average daily range. Like he'll use that quite a lot, because that's obviously very handy for
Yeah, it
identifying
is. It is.
liquidity. But you're essentially identifying retail trader setups that you were taking, I was taking, obviously, when I first set out, and you're set out, you've gone on YouTube, you've looked up support, resistance. Even, do you know what? Even the traders that are almost profitable, the vast majority of people that are going one way, they've seen this, they've seen that, the price action tells them this, the EMA says that, and then we're reversing it, because 98% of traders aren't profitable. So it's essentially, rather than try and do what the 2% do, why don't you just do the opposite to what the 98% of traders are doing? So we are essentially the long and short of it is, we're identifying retail trader setups, finding where their stop loss would be, finding where their TP is, and then we're reversing it round essentially. So we're getting a nice big zone of
Yeah.
liquidity. And we're not right all the time either. We're not. But when you look at it in the grand scheme of things, when we are right, they're big. They're big wins. Just as those retail traders, when you go over a long period of time, they blow their accounts eventually because they're right just as much as we are,
It
but
makes
their
sense.
wins are so small.
It makes sense when we've so me and my friends have been coding like EAs, as you probably know, we discussed
Yeah.
before. When we've been doing the strategy tester on MT5, sometimes like when you input like the dummy settings, you just see the curve and it like 2 minutes it goes, it makes that squeaky sound and it goes like, and you just see the curve like that. You're like, what if I just put in exactly the opposite of this? But I
Yeah.
just get a curve like that. And it's
Yeah.
like, obviously it didn't work, but I was like, well, that looks interesting. It just goes down, 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 down. So I'll just do the opposite of this and it'll
Yeah.
surely just go like that. But it never works like that.
Well, that's it.
So
We all get like that as well. I remember when I was following signals years ago, and you just get tempted to a point where those signals groups, you lose so much money. You just think, why don't
so
I do the
bad,
opposite of it? And
so
there is
bad.
money. There is money in doing the opposite, but you've got to do it to a plan. You can't just go all in on the
Yeah.
opposite
You
because
got to have
we
a risk
still
to reward ratio
we
as well and all
that's it.
set
We have drawdowns. We have losses. But that's it. We can't be going all in on this stuff. We've got a secret sauce that works that we're
yeah.
happy to share with everyone, basically.
Same. So yeah, copy trading, that's great. When you're like, let's call it a bullish run, your investors, they're all happy. They're all like, "Oh, Joe, you're the best." Da, da, da,
Yeah.
da, da. I've made 10% this month,
Yeah.
10% last month, 10% last. But then now we all know you can have negative months, if we discussed. So that's just part of the parcel. There's no avoiding that. Even
Mm.
Warren fucking Buffett, whatever,
Yeah.
he had negative months, probably
Yeah.
negative years as well. How do you deal with your clients who are not really experienced traders who don't understand this concept? And like, what do you say to them to like sort it out?
I'm finally at a point now where, like I say, I've got a good bunch of clients there, and it's more quality over quantity with the clients. The mistake that I made previously was when I first got into this industry and I said, this is what I'm going to do. No one with a high net worth is going to listen to me if I've got no credentials. They're not going to give me their money.
No.
The only people that probably would give me their money are people that buy into me that I'm down the pub with, I'm this, I'm that, I've met, and then they go, you know, I'll give you a shot with that. And that's the first mistake there. Obviously, I'm very grateful for those people that did take the leap of faith, and I did make the money, but I also lost the money as well because I didn't make everyone money. We went up to like 300%. That 300% then went that had a sharp drop.
Yeah.
So that was learning from that is you can't really deal with them. You can't like if you lose
Yeah.
if someone comes on when things are looking so great here and it's been like that for a solid year, it comes down to doing your job properly. So I'm essentially I'm a fund manager. I'm a salesman at the end of the day. I need to make sure that I'm not lying to people, promising them, guaranteeing and saying things are going to go like this forever. I need to make sure that I've done my job right. If I've basically still got people popping up on this day, if I have a losing month, week, or whatever, if they're popping up saying they're scared, the losses are bad, this and that, I haven't done my job in qualifying people properly. So I need to make sure that my clients are fully qualified. So I do that by going through questions with them. I
Yeah.
only really target high net worth people, and I make
Yeah.
sure it's people that have got like a decent risk tolerance.
Yeah.
Another thing that we combat with that as well is we have a equity drawdown limit that is available to people. So if
Right.
someone's got 10 grand and they only want to risk say 3, we'll say put a 30% drawdown limit on it. So if it does come down, then there's your answer. But
Okay.
sorry, man, I went a bit off on that there, but it's that
Yeah,
sort of it's one of the biggest things in my life. It really that really controls my life. Like I can post stuff on Instagram saying, "Oh, you know, I'm on holiday again. I'm doing this." Mate, my life is dictated by thinking, what are my clients thinking? If
okay.
I've got because I tell you now, when I had that really bad loss, I just decided, I just got engaged, decide to go traveling. When you're onboarding, so obviously I've got clients that have made a lot of money and they're happy because, you know, say they've made 4 times their amount of money, they could lose half of that, but they're still fine. If
Yeah.
you've onboarded a load of clients, you're then sitting in these hot tubs in Thailand, you're posting on social media, you're doing all this, you've just onboarded someone and they've dropped down 20%. They're like, is this guy, obviously you and I know I can't touch their money, I can't spend their losses,
No.
but you will naturally think, what's this guy up to? He doesn't care about my account. But at the same time, I've got a shot. I can't look scared because if I'm scared, my client's
Yeah.
going to go, he's the one sailing the ship. I'm going to jump off if he's scared. So
Right.
it's a real double-edged sword there. I
Yeah.
have
Yeah.
to got to manage I've got to manage my emotions. Always got to
Yeah,
show face.
my next question was actually, do you think about this sort of stuff on the weekend? I know I've had issues in the past with a low win rate but high
Mm,
profitability strategy that I would be all weekend. If I had a bad week, I'd just be so sad. And I thought, I got to just change this. I got to change this up a bit. This is not going to work for me long term because it would just ruin my whole weekend
yeah.
sometimes. That was my most profitable strategy, but the hit rate was like 20%.
Mm,
So
yeah.
it, like, my wife would say to me, like, "You all right?" I'm like, "Yeah, yeah, I'm fine."
Yeah. Yeah.
That one, like,
What is it? You know that meme? I bet he's thinking about other women. Then you're just sat there thinking about all the
yeah,
other
yeah,
women.
yeah, yeah. That's the one. There's the one. And then there was one meme I saw the other day, or yeah, the other week, and the Joker film where he's like, "All I have are negative thoughts." I was like, that was me, 100%.
That's it.
So
But yeah, mate, in answer to that, I hate weekends, mate. When it comes to the job, I love the weekends because in the week, generally speaking, everyone's at work and that, so it's a bit boring.
yeah,
But we're active. We can chase our dreams. We can get after it on the weekends. The only time I like the weekend is if we've had a really, really belter of a Friday or a strong finish, because then you think, great, we can cool off. But I can't stand the weekends, mate, because there's nothing we can do.
I don't even go out on the weekend, bro,
No,
anymore.
exactly.
I
You
don't,
don't
I
know.
don't, I don't enjoy it. Like,
No, that's it. It's and that's another thing as well. I haven't really had, I think I've been out twice this year so far, but I'm really trying to distance myself from that lifestyle because it's also a good way to escape as well. If you've had a stressful week at work, great. I'll just go out, go out with the wife, go have a few drinks, and that next thing you've had a few bottles of wine. But then Sunday comes and you're like, oh mate, I've got to face the markets, and then you're an emotional wreck. Obviously, you might have some positions that are open. You might you
yeah,
might be in you might be in 3% drawdown on some positions that you've
there's
then
a
got to go to
war that's
bed.
just started, and you've got to pay swaps.
That's mate, exactly. That's it. You got to go to bed on the Sunday, and you don't know what you're going to wake up with on the Monday, and you're just
Yeah,
like,
that's it,
oh
man.
mate, that's why it's. I really am. You'll see, like with Instagram, with my Instagram and that, mate. I'm mad on my fitness and health and
Yeah,
not drinking at the moment because I don't know where I'd be with the choppy waves that we've had to sail with the markets, even this year. I don't know where I'd be on if I was out on the piss all the time or not healthy. But
yeah.
obviously, you've got a healthy body, healthy mind. You can
Your
deal with
mind.
this stress. You can deal with everything a lot better.
So we'll just go through a couple of fun questions now. That was brilliant. There we got some really interesting things there. So do you have any personal like investment tips or anything that you like the look of in terms of
Yeah.
projects, like anything in crypto, or what would be your go-to for someone just trying to dip their toes into like stocks and didn't want
Stratus
to.
Capital.
What's that?
No,
Right
um,
here.
I'm boring. I'm very boring with stuff. That's why Stratus kind of keeps me like that. The fire lit in my belly. For me, it's you want to make money investing. Be boring with it. Do the S&P 500. Do pound cost averaging. Invest every month a set amount. £200, £100, 10% of your wages. Do that into a set of ETFs like Vanguard. Just anything like that. Have a bit of crypto. Have a punt on it, but don't don't invest money that you're going to want to take out like in the
Yeah,
next when you're investing you want to be investing for 10, 20 years, mate. Like it's
not
there's
short
such a
term.
huge misconception, but even then, mate, I'm guilty of it. I'm not advertising my thing as 10, 20 years because no one's going to want to touch it with a barge pole. But once they've seen results after a couple of years, they go, oh yeah, I can see the potential of this, like, and they will want to keep it in for longer.
Right.
But
Okay.
for me personally, I am just, don't get me wrong, mate, I hate a savings account and that. I hate a 5% a year or whatever. I
Shit.
look, if I can get something like 10 to 20%, 20% is pushing it even then. But if I can get
3% a month.
out of a very boring investment, then I would. But that's part of the reason why I created Stratus Capital, is because it's the middle ground. You've got the
Right.
lucrative returns mixed with the security
Yeah,
of
it's a little
people
bit.
always
It's a
watching.
little bit of it's a nice risk. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
you can feel it. You're like, oh yeah.
Yeah, and it's your own tolerance. You know what I mean? You're in control of it. Obviously, they're not in control of their money, but put in what you're happy. The one thing you'll barely ever catch me saying is only invest what you. I say only invest what you can afford to invest, but it's only invest what you can afford to lose. I hate saying that because
Yeah.
it's the worst marketing
No, of
strategy, but
course.
but it is. It's people shouldn't invest money that they can't afford to because
Right.
otherwise they're going to end up in trouble.
Exactly. Exactly. So do you don't mess around with crypto, or do you have any like eyes on like crypto at all?
Right now, no. but I
I've
have
just
done.
been like looking at like just as the crypto bullish runs going on, I've got some like long-term things like stuck,
Yeah,
like Litecoins, for example. When I bought them in like 2012 or something, or
yeah,
2014, something stupid like that.
yeah,
But yeah, I think we got like 40 or 50.
yeah,
But I mean, they're not worth that much. They're not like Bitcoin. But
yeah.
I've just been looking at all the funny meme coins recently. And some of them are so jokes, man. Honestly, I've seen one that was called Harry Plopper. And it's like a website, and he basically shits his way to the moon,
That's
and he's
ridiculous.
like,
That's the thing, mate. It's not even investing
I
anymore,
don't
is it?
even
It's
know
like
what it is,
it's
man.
how many people can we get behind this shit project, and then half of them are going to lose all their money. You're just essentially all agreeing to throw your money in. Some of you are going to take the jackpot, and some of you are going to lose it. Which
Yeah,
it's just like the
exactly.
lottery, though. You're just
It's
buying a ticket to the lottery, and some of you will win, some of you won't.
yeah,
But
it is quite
but
mad. The meme
I
coin
had
thing is quite mad. I'm like, wow, this is really funny. Like,
But I had XRP, VeChain, bit of Ethereum, Bitcoin. That those there was nothing crazy. I had a real good go with VeChain before actually.
right.
Like made a lot, lost a lot. It's
Okay,
one of
yeah,
those.
fair
But
enough.
yeah. So
That's the nature
but
of it, I
yeah,
guess.
I'm more just so caught up in my own world now, which
I
is
guess
good.
you are basically it. Like what you're doing now is like investment, right? So
Yeah, exactly. So it's if
you
I
put
wasn't doing
money up.
what I do, I would be a massive crypto advocate.
Have you heard any like really absurd rumors or conspiracies to do with forex trading?
The only ones I've really heard is when not absurd, but it's people thinking they know what they're talking about when they don't. You know, they'll say, "Oh, there's certain patterns that mean this. This is going on behind closed doors," and no one has a clue. Like
Yeah,
that's it. It's you just have everyone. It's the
you can give
people that
yourself
really
the
got.
best chance, and that's it. You can
Yeah,
make
the
out
people that
whatever pattern. You can draw a dinosaur and
that's
call it
it.
the dinosaur strategy if you want.
That's it. The
Uh,
people that really bother me more than anything are I'd sit here and talk to you all day about Forex and there's no real judgment, but it's people that really want to try and act like they know what they're talking about. Um, and people that have an opinion on it when they really have no knowledge on it. I mean, I wouldn't walk into a room full of traders and give it the big one because I respect that their knowledge is greater than mine because they've got to a level of profitability. It's just my intelligence probably lays more in business. So that's what I'm good at. But it's when you're talking to people, I really do hate talking about this industry with people that don't understand it, other than people that want to invest. But when if you're out, you're at maybe like I don't know, like you might meet someone at a wedding or like if you're out or something, they ask you what you do and you sit there talking. It's always classic. What's that? Stocks or and then they
oh,
go, "Oh," then they want to
oh
stick their
yeah,
2 pence in
sure, mate.
about it, and it's you really almost can come across boring because to understand the industry we're in, you have to be a real boring, almost geek to explain it. So I've just always got the usual quick phrases like I'm just a middleman. So I'm a
Yeah,
middleman. I raise the money and I employ someone to do the trading, and that's
yeah.
it basically on the face of
Okay.
it. But
Did you ever
you
think you might stop doing what you were doing at one point? Did you have like a really bad when you're like, you know what, right? Let's just cut ties here and maybe go on to do something else. I know I did personally at like one or two stages.
I've had moments where you worry and you're like, God, is this going to work? Sometimes I thought that in the past, in the early days, but also in the early days, I was running multiple businesses. So I had other streams of income and I was doing that. And then it was about a year and a half ago, I decided to go all in on this. So this is everything that I do now. Still open to doing other things, but
Yeah,
I like channeling everything into this because I just feel like that's the best way to be if you're all in on something rather than
yeah,
spinning
of
loads of
course.
plates.
The
Um,
passion's there. I'm like, so I'm not someone who can focus on lots of things. I have to
mm,
focus on just one thing. And if I focus on one thing, because before I was like a professional DJ, and I was never the best DJ when I
yeah,
started. I was like one of the worst. But I was like, if I focus on it, I will end up being professional. I know I will. And it's pretty
yeah.
hard. It's a pretty hard nut to crack that. So I ended up really putting all my effort into it. And I got to the stage where I was traveling the whole world, like literally just DJing in
I
front of
remember. Yeah, yeah,
yeah, it was just like great. And then COVID killed me.
yeah,
Cut a long story short there, but yeah, I'm like with the trading. I was like, you know what? Let's try this. But if I really focus on it, I know I get to the bottom of it. It's not,
yeah,
So yeah, I think guys are quite like logical thinkers, right? That's what we are, and by a stereotype, should we say. And whereas girls can multitask, right? This is just my theory anyway, right? So girls can do lots of things. I've seen my wife doing this and this and this, and I'm
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
I
yeah.
only do one thing. Like, yeah. So
That's it, mate. Spot on. Yeah.
can you give me like your top 5 pairs that you like to trade, or your trader trades for you? The ones that return you the most profitability, the ones that are more consistent for you.
They vary, mate, but generally I'd say I'd be surprised if I don't see it. It's gold, GU, Euro, US dollar CAD. That's always popular. Haven't mentioned New Zealand dollar. It would be New Zealand dollar paired probably with US dollar. But yeah, we always have a New Zealand dollar in there every now and again as well. But you know, they move quite similar anyway. So it's
When I was
when
learning, actually, incidentally, I got taught to just look at New Zealand dollar, US dollar, because it's so slow and
yeah.
it's steady. It's like easy on the brain. You know, you don't want to go jumping into US 30 where it's just going like
Yeah. Well,
your
that's the
head.
thing that excites me. That US 30 excites me, but it's
Nah, man, that kills me. Kills me.
but that's luckily our strategy doesn't. No, I think the strategy does, but we've never tried it just because it's too crazy. Like, but
Yeah.
yeah, it's that's the gambler in me. That's the guy that can't ever become a profitable trader that gets excited at that sort of stuff.
Yeah. If you had a superpower to help you with trading, what would it be and why? You
Mm.
can't say telling the future because that's cheating.
Would that be actually? Yeah, because it would be. I'm not the trader, am I? So that's the thing.
Okay.
Obviously, just to become profitable for me, wouldn't it? That would be a superpower. But
Yeah.
if I could give my trader a superpower, well, unlimited drawdown.
Nice. Now I know what mine would be. Mine would just be literally no emotion. Obviously, that would
No,
ruin you in other aspects of life. But no, if you had no emotion, it would be so much easier.
that's exactly why. But obviously, with me and you, we speak about these sometimes, don't we? It's looking for the bots or looking for the EAs because there's no emotion in them. It's just
Takes away the psychology. Well, that's what I thought anyway. You know, like that was
yeah,
my theory.
it
And I
takes away
guess
the.
it would. You know, like it's just finding something to work over a long period of time because,
Mm,
like, we've learned that the market is constantly changing and adapt. You've got to adapt, and that's the key thing with manual, right?
mm.
You've got to have that adaptation.
If you couldn't be negatively affected by emotion, basically, wouldn't it?
That
That would
would
be
be if we were gonna like just toggle with the superpower a little bit. That's probably what it would be. Yeah, not
yeah,
get
yeah, yeah. If you
affected
couldn't
by
be
emotion
negatively,
too much.
couldn't be because we're just slaves to it. That's all. We're just, and then you look back on it afterwards, and you're like, oh, you see the trades then gone up, and you're like, mate, why did I get out of that, or why did I do
Yeah,
this? Like,
that's
it's
the one. That's the one. Have you had any like funny reactions from like family members? I've had one
oh,
or
mate,
two. Yeah, yeah. I mean, we've all had that, haven't we?
you seen the meme, innit?
The looks like,
You know
oh
the
yeah,
meme, isn't it? The meme when he walks in, here comes Mr. Trader. You know,
yeah, yeah,
here
yeah,
comes little Mr. Crypto when you're
yeah.
walking into the kitchen. It's actually really, I've never really spoke about this before, but all I ever wanted was for people to understand what I was up to. Obviously I quit my job and chased my dreams a few years ago or whatever. And all I ever wanted, the people that I really wanted was my family to be like, wow, like Joe's doing bits. Like, yeah, this looks great. And
Yeah.
obviously I've got some family, like my mum always believes in what I do, and that's
Obviously,
great.
yeah. Mothers
But
are goated.
but
Yeah,
but there's like, when you see your family, you don't always see all the time. You're around there like, oh, you're gonna get a job, so you're gonna get another job. And I'm like, no,
oh
no, I
yeah,
don't,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I don't need to get another job. And they're like, how's that crypto thing going? I'm like, it's not
Oh
crypto.
mate, that's the best one.
And then you
What
keep
do you do
saying,
in crypto? Yeah, right.
and then it's finally evolved over like so many years. And now obviously I'm dealing with like a high net worth fund where we're specifically aimed at current and ex-professional Premier League footballers now. That's the kind of fund that I'm trying to run. And now obviously when you're speaking to these people, they're like, oh, what you been up to? Oh, I've just come out of a meeting with such and such. And they're like, hang on a minute, what? And then that thing where I always wanted them before the success was there, before like I got there, you wanted them all to believe,
Yeah,
and
believe.
then
No
then
one
they
believes.
didn't. And
No
now
one.
everyone kind of wants it. You're like, oh no, mate, it doesn't matter now. Like I'm under too much stress now. It's like you can't even enjoy it. Like I kind of like have a pinch myself moment every now and again, going, oh, I'm working with these amazing people,
Yeah,
which is great. But it's still like that's what I say to my wife a lot. It's like I always wish that people could have seen how well I was doing when I wasn't actually doing well.
yeah.
Um, and then when you
It's just a process. At the end of the day, you're always gonna get there. You know, if you
it's
believe.
almost like an ego thing. You really want them to believe you're doing well when you actually wasn't, and then when you finally start doing well,
Don't
and
care.
people start to see you don't care, because when you're doing well, you then the better you're doing, the bigger your losses are, the harder times are. My times are harder now than when I was flying a couple of years ago or whatever. So it's, you don't really care anymore. You just realize, why did I care about my
Yeah.
family seeing me do well? But yeah, man,
Yeah.
there was always those things that they will never fully understand, but some of them do. It's an essential, like I said before, I'm just a middleman. I raise
Yeah.
the money and the trader does it. That's what I explain
Oh,
to
you're
them.
doing a
So
good job, man.
yeah,
I've been following your Instagram. It's quite
yeah,
entertaining, to be honest. You have a bit of fun with it as well. You know what I
that's
mean?
it,
You're
mate.
not totally serious. So, guys, you can also follow Joe on his Instagram, which will be linked in the comments below. Well, we'll just finish off with some kind of educational ones now. A couple of
Yeah,
questions, and then we'll play a little game of this or that at the end.
yeah.
So, do you have any advice you would give to aspiring investors? Any tips?
Get a job. No, you say it to everyone. You literally say it to everyone, but you've just got to be so long term on this. You've got to be so and willing to lose a lot of money. It
Yeah,
depends what you're doing though. If you're an aspiring trader, sorry, that is an
yeah,
investor. An investor, you've got to realize this isn't going to be your life for 5, 10, 20 years, unless you've got heaps of capital. So yeah, the only two ways to make money if you're investing are to have a lot of money
yeah,
or to have a lot of risk. That's the bottom line. So if you want to make a lot of money, get your hands on a load of money and do some low risk investments, or do high risk investments with the limited amount of money you got and be willing to
right.
lose it. But that's it basically. If you want to
Okay.
make money,
Yeah, that's
yeah,
interesting. Yeah, no, it makes a lot of sense to me. You know, not everyone that's listening is going to be like fully understanding like me, but for me personally, that makes a
yeah,
lot of sense. So can you like the last couple questions? Can you share like some really hard, like a particular hard loss, memorable
yeah,
successes and memorable failures in your career, and what
yeah.
you learned from that particular moment?
Biggest loss has got to be 2 years ago. 2 years ago, a year and a half ago. Well, personally, like 60 grand personally lost.
Oh,
Just like, yeah,
it's
in
what it is,
crypto.
man.
Yeah.
I've heard stories. I've heard some stories of way more than that.
And yeah, exactly. So that was like in its, do you know what I mean? And I swallowed that up. That's gone. And I kind of thought, I always thought like, oh yeah, that's in the success story. You know, you kind of daydream about this autobiography of your life and that. And I'm like, well, that'll be the adversity that I face, and then I'll come out on top. No, man, that was just the start of things. So like literally, I lost, I lost that, and then yeah, started up, carried on doing what I'm doing, which was great. But then yeah, we had like a 50% drawdown or something in the space of like 2 months, which was just pure hell, mate. Like you say, it's absolute hell. And there's nothing worse than feeling like people see you as one of the guys that are the bad guys, you know, the guys with the Lambos and all that.
Yeah, those guys.
Feeling, I don't know how those guys go about daily life, mate, because honestly, it's the worst feeling, because I happen to be obviously out in Thailand as well and looking like I'm living the dream. Worst trip of my life. That trip to Thailand was
Really?
terrible. My wife had a great time, but she always said, my mates laugh about it with me because they just picture me out there like crying behind the camera, basically putting all these photos up. But it
Yeah.
is, you can't show weakness because people won't want
Yeah,
to
then it's
invest with
like
you.
it's actually like it looks like it's your fault then, you know what I
That's
mean?
that's what I mean, and they also be like, oh, like yeah. So that's the biggest. That's like the worst. It's
And a
been
memorable success from that, because obviously that's going to be that would have been a really tough. I can imagine that have been a really tough situation.
yeah. We've done 327% in 10 months. That's crazy. Didn't really even appreciate it at the time either. That was great, and went from zero to 500,000. Just in normal Tom, Dick, and Harry's. Like literally, people down the pub managed to raise that.
Yeah, that's
And
mad.
top 4x their money. Sorry, four
Times.
times, not 4x,
Yeah.
but
I know what you
yeah,
meant.
like
I know what you meant. That works as well
300.
though.
Yeah,
No pun intended.
that's it. No pun intended, guys. But yeah, that's phenomenal win, and another phenomenal win that would have been in the space of 24 hours. This is when things, it's not as crazy now, but still kind of think maybe one day I might be able to do it again without too much risk.
Yeah.
I
Yeah, of
think it
course.
was I think it was November the 3rd or November the 3rd, 2022. 50% in a day.
That's just silly. That's
But
bad.
mate, it was just on these trades that are open, and that must have been like, I think it was like 200 grand or something then, like that we got.
Wow.
Like, yeah, so it was it's crazy.
Yeah, that is crazy.
Um Yeah. But that's phenomenal. But then it's just not, and people just try and live off this stuff and say how amazing obviously things can be, but it's not, mate. It's you can just, it's few and far between. Like I can say, the few and far between, that big, it balances out. The huge win, the huge loss, like it
Yeah,
balances out over the space of time.
yeah, of
But,
course, of course.
you just got to look for the middle ground,
Yeah,
and just hope you're around when. And you've got to realize these profits as well. They're just numbers on screens. Like they doesn't mean anything. Like I could lose 50% of the fund that we've got, and we get it back up. That's great, but we could also double it. It doesn't mean anything until it's hit the bank again. Like that's why people have just got to learn to, once you've invested money, that's gone, that's fine,
so
and I'll get that back at X, Y, and Z when I decide it's time.
what do you see for yourself in the future then? Where do you think you could improve, and where do you see yourself in, a year or two's time? What are your kind of your next steps towards where you want to be?
So me personally, it's breaking into the high performance people. So I'm the closest I've ever been to getting everything I've ever dreamed of and ever wanted. I think a really, really good phrase that I've heard is, we should all be humble because we are all just a couple of bad decisions away from being homeless. Like we are all, it's, mate, it's one of my favorite quotes now. We are just a couple of bad decisions away. So,
Yeah,
and it's the same with this. If I get impatient, if I worry, I've just onboarded some, big clients. If they have 3 or 4, say for example, we have, do you know what I mean? They don't make any money for 3 or 4 months or something. You could get impatient, try and stick a rocket up the trader's arse or something, and then he makes a really bad mistake and you end up worse off. You've got to stick to the plan and things will snowball. That's all. I've done the hard bit now and I've got really high caliber clients, which is great. But it's just the case of letting them see the results for themselves, whether that takes a month, whether that takes 2, whether it takes a year, whether they've got to share the vision, and then things will snowball when the time is right. But that's where I see myself, Matt. I'm just really, at the moment, it's more athletes that I'm looking into than anything. Obviously, I'd take anyone on, but I really like athletes because they're high performance people.
brilliant.
And there's not a lot of support for them either. They generally speaking, you don't know about athletes being genius traders or investors, do you? So
No,
it's,
not at all. Actually, I know this one. Actually, the footballers is interesting because none of them have any money when they finish because they spent it all in Vegas, right?
mate,
And
that's it. Yeah.
one of my friends, Rowan, he's got a little bit of cash obviously now, but he's a plasterer. But he used to play for Queens Park Rangers,
Mm,
and he's the best guy. But he just said that all of a sudden he was on 25 grand a week when he was
yeah.
when he was what 2022, and then
Yeah.
he broke his leg, like
Mm,
literally in rehab for like 3 years. And then they
mm,
just like got rid of him. Basically, never really fully recovered. And he had this big house, big mortgage,
yeah.
and he spent his money partying. And there's no help for him, when
No,
they first
there,
signed those, deals. It's
that's it, mate. There's really not, and that's why a lot of the guys that I deal with, they're either coming to the end of their careers or they're retired, or some of them are still active. But it literally is. Imagine being on like, imagine having like 100 grand a week. Like you're on 100 grand a week, you're taking home like 200, 400K a month or whatever, and
ma-
then you know this is going to stop in a year or two, and you're like, whatever you've stacked up, that's then your nest egg, and that's just going to start going down. So it's basically like they should have that. That's why I literally just thought there's such a gap in the market for this, because one, they've got the liquidity there, they've got money there,
yeah,
that they can afford to invest, but two,
yeah,
they've got the motivation there for when the time is right. I mean, I'm not targeting these guys that are on 70. I'm not targeting Mbappe. I'm not.
yeah,
Those guys don't need it. Okay, they don't need it. But it's the middle ground. It's the
yeah.
guys that they've got silly money to normal people,
Right.
but there's definite value to be added to their life still.
Interesting. Yeah, man, that's great. Well, like I think we're gonna wrap it up there. But thanks for coming on.
Yeah,
It's been great. We'll play a quick game of this or that
sure.
first. So quick fire questions. Answer this or that. So let's go. Stocks or options?
Stocks.
Day trading or swing trading?
Swing trading, even though we're day trading mainly. But yeah, swing.
I'd prefer that one.
Yeah.
Okay, so technical analysis or fundamental analysis?
Fundamental.
Bull market or bear market?
Bull.
Long-term investing or short-term?
Long term.
Growth stocks or value stocks?
Value.
Oh, it's a tricky one. That was
Yeah.
you're struggling with
Yeah.
that one.
Yeah.
Active trading or passive investing?
Passive investing.
Trend following or contrarian investing?
Trend following.
Buy and hold or buy low and sell high?
Mate, I'd love to say buy low and sell high, but it's buy and hold. I never bloody touch anything. Yeah,
Investing in individual stocks or ETFs?
ETFs,
Okay, MACD or RSI?
MACD.
Okay, they're both shite. So
Yeah,
it doesn't
exactly.
matter.
Oh, that brings back some memories.
Warren Buffett or Jordan Belfort?
Oh, mate, I can't sit here and say Jordan Belfort, can I? And anyone that's thinking of investing with me would be like, no way. Literally, I've got a poster on the wall over there as well of one of Jordan Belfort's quotes.
Oh, is it?
I've got to say Warren Buffett. Warren Buffett for what we're doing, but Jordan
Okay.
Belfort is a inspirational guy, but also not someone you should take
Also,
inspiration
that's
from
what you should
for the
trust.
wrong reasons.
Yeah.
I want to do what. Go on.
Trading on gut feeling or trading based on data?
Trading based on data.
Investing in emerging markets or developed markets?
Developed
Trading based on news headlines or trading based on charts?
charts.
Investing in crypto or traditional assets?
Traditional assets.
High risk, high rewards or low risk, steady returns?
Me personally,
Yeah.
high risk, high reward. Me personally,
Investing in blue chip or startups?
blue chip
Trading during market hours or after hours trading?
during market hours.
There we go. Okay, so that was Joe. You can follow him on Instagram, like I just said, guys. You can see what he's up to in his day to day. Thanks for coming on, Joe, and sharing your knowledge. And as
Yeah,
always,
thanks for having me, mate.
and always, thanks for tuning in, everybody. Stay tuned for more Trading Tales episodes at Nordic Plunder.